It's now my pleasure to give the floor to the Honourable Mfo Parks Tau, the President of United Cities and Local Governments and South African Local Governments Association, and co-chair of the the high-level independent panel to assess and enhance the effectiveness of UN habitat. Your chance to have a statement, Excellency.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency, the President of the General Assembly. Excellencies, partners, colleagues, and friends, morning to you all. Let me start by extending my thanks to the President of the UN General Assembly, His Excellency Peter Thompson, for convening this important meeting. My deepest thanks too go to Dr. Juan Claus, UN Habitat staff, and all member states and partners that have provided very useful inputs. Finally, thank you to the UN Secretary General's office, particularly Deputy Secretary General Amina Mohammed, for the invitation to serve on the panel. The task of co-chairing the panel has been a great responsibility and an enormous privilege. I would like to commend my fellow co-chair, Secretary Robles, and panel members for their dedication and commitment to the process despite the tight calendar. Today, I speak to you as co-chair of the panel, but as a local leader, I brought to the panel my strong conviction of the need to harness the new urban agenda as a framework for sustainable development across the world. There is no doubt that we need renewed institutions, governance systems, and partnerships to achieve this. There was great consensus on the panel on this point, as well as among all the stakeholder groups we interviewed, and among many member states. We need to acknowledge the mega trend of urbanization and see it as a territorial phenomenon that does not only affect urbanized areas, but the full organization of our territorial governance. We all agree that there is a necessary shift from an ineffective, exclusionary, and unsustainable model of socio-economic development to a more sustainable and equitable one, which is increasingly being referred to as the next great transformation. An encouraging proliferation of sustainability-oriented experiments in urban settlements and territories across the world. The future of humanity is contingent upon the way in which urban and local challenges will be addressed. Therefore, it is so important to examine what is now emerging within our urban settlements and territories in order to discern the potential dynamics of a new, inclusive, and sustainable socio-economic order. To this end, the evolutionary potential of the present moment needs to be understood for possible transition pathways in the future. At the same time, we call for the urban to be understood in its broadest sense, including metropolitan areas, intermediary cities, peri-urban areas, and their rural surroundings. We should challenge the artificial urban-rural dichotomy and find a way in which we mainstream a territorial approach to development across the UN. The challenges are so great that there needs to be a total change in the way we approach development, and we will need to include a greater number of actors. Our report makes a clear case for universality and for taking the involvement of non-state actors and local governments to a different level. The UN system has so far failed to recognize the fundamental role played by local governments in development. This is an issue that must be addressed urgently. The panel is convinced that given the adequate resources and with full ownership by member states, UN Habitat can continue to play a significant role in bridging this gap. We recommend a formal role for subnational government in UN Habitat through a committee of local governments and a similar committee for stakeholders, particularly as these are actively involved in managing urbanization in our cities and territories. These committees would build on existing experiences such as UNACLA, but would have more direct links with the policy board to inform on the local governance implications of decisions. The above leads us to our report's recommendations that a multi-agency coordinating mechanism, UN Urban, be set up to champion the urban agenda across the UN. This proposal should be understood as complementary to the overall reform work and also to complement the work of UN Habitat. Further, it would ensure that the role of UN Habitat as a focal point on sustainable urbanization and reporting would be realized and enhanced. The UN Urban Proposal seeks to contribute to make the UN fit for purpose in the achievement of the 2030 Agenda, seeking consultation and coordination mechanisms which we have not seen before. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, during the panel's brief but intensive period of work, we have been able to see how much commitment there is among different actors to make a significant contribution to sustainable development and peace from cities and communities. We hope that our recommendations can inspire concrete decisions and help overcome some of the deadlocks that emerged during the Habitat 3 negotiations. I look forward to hearing your thoughts on the report over the coming days. Thank you very much.
And I thank the Honourable Co-Chair for his statement. We've heard